Let's read section 5 from Premchand's story A Coward and analyze it. Here we go. Keshav's father lived on a government pension. So you see that in section 5, the scene changes. In section 4, we saw Prema's mother Briddha and Prema's father. In section 3, we saw Prema and Prema's father. In section 2, we saw Prema and Prema's mother. In section 1, we saw Keshav and Prema. I repeat, in section 1, we saw the conversation between Keshav and Prema. In section 2, the conversation took place between Prema and Prema's mother. In section 3, conversation took place between Prema and Prema's father. In section 4, conversation took place between Prema's father and Prema's mother. And now, in section 5, the focus is on Keshav's father. The scene has changed. Section 2, 3, and 4 took place in Prema's home. Section 1 and 2 took place in the evening and night. Section 3 took place in the morning, and Section 4 took place 6 months later. Now, Section 5 takes place in Keshav's father's home. So we know that Keshav's father is a very old pensioner. He was a government job holder. By nature, he was ill-tempered and miserly. There is one word in literature called tone. Tone means the kind of attitude which a writer shows towards the characters. When this storyteller describes Keshav's father as ill-tempered person, we can understand that this story writer has critical tone towards this character. So by nature, Keshav's father was ill-tempered and miserly. He found satisfaction only in religious ostentation. This is a satire on religion. So again, the writer is criticizing Keshav's father. He was totally without imagination and unable to respect the personal feelings of anybody else. So do you see in your note copy under the heading characters, you first noted Keshav, then you noted Prema, then you noted Prema's mother, then you noted Prema's father. Now note down Keshav's father. And under the heading Keshav's father, write, take your pen, write, he is ill-tempered, 1. Number 2, he is miserly. Number 3, he finds satisfaction in religious ostentation. Number 4, he is without imagination. Number 5, he does not respect the personal feelings of other people. Okay, let's read ahead. At present, he was still living in the same world in which he had passed his childhood and youth. This means Keshav's father, though he must have been over 60, he lived in a world 60 years before. That means he was very conservative, very traditional. The rising tide of progress he called ruination. So the scientific progress in the world and the social change, Keshav's father said this is a ruination of religion. and hoped to save at least his own family from the progress by any means available to him. Therefore, when one day Prema's father came to him and broached means to disclose, the prospect of her marrying Kesav, old Panditji, the word Panditji is used in satirical tone, could not control himself. Staring through eyes dim with anger, he said, "Are you drunk?" He said to Prema's father, "Are you drunk? Whatever this relationship may be, it is not marriage. It appears that you two have had your head turned by the new ideas." Look here, Kesav's father is not happy with the new ideas. And by new ideas, one meaning is we should not follow caste system. Move ahead. "I do not like this sort of connection either," Prema's father said gently. "My ideas about it are just the same as yours. But the thing is that, being helpless, I had to come to see you. You are aware too of how willful today's youngsters have become. It is getting hard for us old timers to defend our theories. I'm afraid that if these two, by these two means Kesav and Prema, become desperate, they may take their lives." So Prema's father talks very respectfully and strongly, and he says that I came to you because I'm helpless. Then he says that these young people, they are very willful. They follow their heart. And it is very difficult for old people like us to convince them, right? And then finally says that if we don't allow them to get married, maybe they will commit suicide. And look what Panditji says, Kesav's father. Old Panditji brought his foot down with a bang and shouted, if you are making it a film, this will very comic scene. "What are you saying, sir? Aren't you ashamed? We are Brahmins, and even among Brahmins, we are of high rank." This is very remarkable. Underline and highlight and note down, because the major theme of this story is intra-cultural caste variation. Caste variation within a single culture. And Kesav's father says that he is not only Brahmin, he is of high rank among Brahmin. No matter how low a Brahman may fall, he can never be so degraded that he can countenance a marriage with a shopkeeping Banya daughter. Look, he says that even if we Brahmins become degraded, we cannot think of marrying a Banya daughter. The day noble Brahmins run out of daughters, we can discuss the problem. Look, the word noble Brahman. Noble Brahman means even among Brahmins, high-ranking Brahmins. "I say you have a fantastic nerve even to bring this matter up with me." He was every bit as furious as Prema's father, as humble. Do you see? Kesav's father was very angry. Prema's father was very humble. And the latter, unable to bear the humiliation any longer, went off cursing his luck. So Prema's father left his home, Kesav's home, and came back. When Prema's father had left Kesav's home, just then Kesav returned from college back home. The moment Kesav came inside room, Panditji sent for Kesav at once and said strictly, I have heard that you are betrothed to some Bania girl. How far has this actually gone? Pretending ignorance, Keshav said, who told you this? Please remark, this is a very crucial line in the story because we expected, because we never imagined that Keshav would give this kind of answer. Who said you this? Because you see, in section 1, in the very beginning, what does Keshav say? Hmm? Let me take you back to section 1 and show you what Keshav said. Let me show you in section 1. Look here. Look at what Keshav says. Keshav says he believed in new ways. He was opposed to old caste customs. Yeah, look down and see what Keshav says. Keshav says, ah, he regarded marriage with this Banya girl as culmination of his life. He did not care a straw about his father and mother. And now look, here the writer said that Keshav does not care about his father and mother. And now in scene 5, he is so scared. He says, who said? Now read further. Keshav considered caste traditions a fraud. But when he had to face his father, he says, who told you? Right? Now come to section 5. Pretending ignorance, Keshav said, who told you this? Somebody. I'm asking you, is it true or not? The father says, sorry, if it is true and you have decided to go against your caste, then there is no more room for you in this house. See the threat the father gives. If you marry outside our caste, Brahmin caste, I will throw out of home. You won't get one piece of my money. Whatever is in this house, I have earned, and it is my right to give it to whoever I want. If you are guilty of this wicked conduct means falling in love with a girl who is supposed to be from a lower caste, so-called lower caste. You won't be permitted to put your foot inside my house. Look, the threat the father gives. The father threatens to expel Keshav from home. Keshav was familiar with his father's temper, ill-tempered, as you read earlier. He loved Prema and he intended to marry her in secret. This is very remarkable thing because this is the only line in the story which makes us feel kind towards Keshav. Otherwise, when we consider what Keshav does in section 6, we hate Keshav. But reading this line in section 5, we understand Keshav's situation, right? Look what writer says. He intended to marry Prema in secret. Why in secret? Because society won't allow them to marry in public. His father would not always be alive and he counted on his mother's affection. Look, Keshav imagined that soon this old guy will die and then I can easily convince my mother and marry that girl. Sustained by that love, mother's love, he felt that he was ready to suffer any hardship. But maybe by that love means maybe mother's love or prema, I'm not clear. But Keshav was like a faint-hearted soldier. Another simile. Maybe this is the third or fourth time the word like has been used in the story. And please remember, there can be a question. What is a simile? Defined with example from the story. Earlier you saw similes were used to describe Prema's situation. Kesav was like a faint-hearted soldier. This metaphor of soldier has come two times. Once in section 3, when Prema is facing her father. At one point, Prema says it. The story says that Prema was like a soldier who had entered a tunnel and he had no way to come back, so he moves ahead. Now it is the second time that the word soldier is used as a metaphor here. But Keshav was like a faint-hearted soldier who loses his courage at the sight of a gun and turns back. What a beautiful simile. Like any average young fellow, he would argue his theories with a passion as he did in section 1. Look how passionately Keshav argued his theories of progressive ideology with Prema in section 1, if you remember. But to suffer for his theories was beyond his capacity. So, in this sense, Keshav is a true hypocrite. If you check the meaning of hypocrite, hypocrite is somebody who cannot live by his words. Hypocrite is somebody who says one thing and does something else. So, in section 1, you saw how uh, Keshav brags with Prema. Keshav brags too much with Prema about all this uh, uh, progressive ideology and caste, all that. And now here, what do you see? He can brag about his theories, but he has no courage to suffer for his principles and idealism. So Keshav is hypocrite because he says something and he can't practice it. If he persisted and his father refused to weaken, he did not know where he would turn. His life would be ruined. In section 1, if you remember, Keshav said that he can go to any extent for Prema. He said that he can stand against his parents for Prema. He said that he can take any risk for Prema. And now here what do you read? Now you read that he imagines if father does not allow him in the home, where would he take shelter? Where would he eat his food? Where would he get his clothes? Right? And he surrenders. In a low voice, he said, "Whoever told you that is a complete liar and nothing else?" Look, Keshav does not know that Prema's father had come and Prema's father told all these things to Keshav's father. But he says, "Whoever told you about this love affair, that is a liar and nothing else." Oh God, this line is very disturbing line because when we read this line, by the time we read these two lines in section 5, all our faith and respect for Keshav is gone. But at the same time, I also feel pity about Keshav because I understand that Keshav wanted to marry Prema in secret. I understand that Keshav was waiting for a time when his father dies and he can convince his mother. Keshav was not able to stand against the social evil. Keshav was not able to stand against the bad practice in society. Keshav was not able to stand against his father. He was not able to stand against the society. So I pity for Keshav. Okay, move ahead. Staring at him, Panditji said. The word Panditji in the story is used sarcastically. Keep in mind, the word Panditji is used in a very satirical tone, sarcastic tone. It is a sarcasm. Staring at him, Panditji said, "So my information is entirely mistaken." Interestingly, Keshav's father does not reveal to Keshav that Prema's father had come there. Now look what Keshav says, yes, let me put it down this line. Yes, entirely mistaken. Now Keshav's father says, then you will write a letter to that shopkeeper. Look how insultingly he addresses Prema's father as shopkeeper. Then you will write a letter to that shopkeeper this very moment. And remember that if there is any more of this gossip, he can regard you as his greatest enemy. Enough. Go. Oh God, look how stern Hitler type of character Keshav's father is. Keshav could say no more. He walked away, but it seemed to him that his legs were utterly numb. So in section 5, the scene is Keshav's home, and there are three characters in this section. First, we see Keshav's father. The writer describes him as a miserly and ill-tempered person. Second, we see Prema's father who arrives at Keshav's father's home. Third, we see Keshav. In the beginning, there is a conversation between Keshav's father and Prema's father, where Prema's father tells Keshav's father about this Keshav's love affair with Prema, and Keshav's father utterly denies the possibility of marriage, and Prema's father feels insulted and returns back. Then Keshav comes, and Keshav's father calls Keshav and he scolds him badly, and Keshav also surrenders in front of his father and he denies that he is in love with Prema. But we also read that Keshav wanted to marry Prema in secret and he thought that very soon his father would die and he can convince his mother and then marry Prema. So you see the conflict and complication in story. Now I will analyze section 6 in the next video. Please watch it and make notes and prepare for the presentation.